The most famous person I've ever met was Benedict Cumberbatch. I was 18 years old and was lucky enough to be working on the set of Sherlock as a runner. And it was basically my job to make him tea and coffee and to make sure that he had everything that he wanted and that he needed. And because we were filming in London, and it rains quite a lot, it was also my responsibility to hold the umbrella next to him and to make sure that he didn't get wet while we were waiting for each scene to set up and for action to be called.
I think the most famous person that I've ever met is Nelson Mandela. I was born in South Africa and I lived there until I was 23 years old, so I had the privilege of meeting Nelson Mandela when I was a schoolboy. I received an award from him and I shook his hand. And it was a really incredible experience. You know, he did build the country I was lucky enough to grow up in. And if it wasn't for Nelson Mandela, I have a feeling that I would have had a very different life, definitely a much worse life.
Jack Nicholson. I met him when I was in Colorado, and I was at school in Colorado there. At least I thought it was Jack Nicholson. So I posted a picture and everyone was like, wow, that's Jack Nicholson. Other people thought it wasn't Jack Nicholson, and looking back on it, I think it wasn't actually Jack Nicholson.
The most famous person I've met is Barack Obama, and I served him a coffee.
The most famous person I've met is the Queen of England when I went to Buckingham Palace and had tea in 2011.
The most famous person I've ever met was a guy called Jarvis Cocker from a band called Pulp, and it went very badly because I was completely starstruck. And I tried to talk to him, but all I could say was for several minutes. It was terribly, terribly embarrassing.